Oh, I am live. I guess I'm not going to do the video thing. Hello, hello, hello. It's been a while since I've been on StreamYard, so I'm a little bit behind, but this is the Cthulhu Invades Oz audio commentary. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about it. So if you have not read your copy, this is not something you want to be part of. The positive is we're not going to at any point really talk about we're not going to read the story. We're just going to kind of talk about it. So it's going to kind of be like a movie audio commentary, right? So you watch the movie, but you can't really pay attention to what's going on in the movie because of all the other stuff. So
talking over it.
Right, exactly. They keep talking. They won't shut up. But yeah, that's the plan, and that's what we're gonna do for this movie. Does anybody have any questions before we start? Yes.
When's lunch?
Chuck, only lunch is available in Texas, unfortunately.
Bring it. It's time for dinner. Go get her.
I am. This is sponsored by Campfire Stout, which is what I'm drinking tonight. For those who
and 7-Eleven coffee.
For those who are waiting for their books, the books are still in proofing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to actually show you guys what I got for proofs and where we're at. Way to show. There you go. So here's a couple things we got. So we'll start with the Kickstarter cover. So we got this one. So what makes this the Kickstarter cover? All this is raised. You can't see it because it's on there. Pretty cool. As you notice, it's not fully put together. That's because they are sending me one that is fully put together. So this is Kickstarter cover, but it looks good. Came out pretty nice.
Yeah, I think so.
Same thing. This is the retailer cover.
Yeah.
I think Steven's store has a lot of these if you guys want them.
Yes, we definitely will once they're produced.
Right. We got a virgin cover.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna lie, I think that's my favorite cover.
It's a pretty cool cover. And this is something really cool that I'm going to share, like a little behind the scenes thing. So we also have a creator cover. So what the creator cover is it was part of payment for people. If anybody backed the project, you backed it, and you get that creative cover as one of your comps, which is pretty cool. So that comes with whatever they got. It's something to give back. I've been in a lot of anthologies, and I haven't really got anything back. Most of them, in fact, most of the time you spend more money than you will comps. Right, Chuck? You had ones that you had to pay to be printed, right? Your first one that you were in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was literally like, here's your story. Oh, okay, cool. Now you can go print some copies. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do that then. So that was my first time dealing with a printer, was printing my own anthology rather than someone else's.
And the last one we have is this is the Indiegogo. The difference in the Indiegogo, doesn't have the glow in the dark, doesn't have any of that stuff. Not because I don't love our Indiegogo fans, but I really wanted something exclusive for the Kickstarter. They're the ones who got us across the border. That's what got us where we need to go.
Well, and I want to say, for that amazing collector's cover, as soon as I heard that you were doing that, I was so jazzed. I was so excited, and I can't tell you how many times I was on interviews while we were on the run for Cthulhu Invades Oz, and somebody would be like, "Oh yeah, I was doing one with Tyler Carpenter, who did the terrific the guards and the Yellow Man." It was a really cool story, and we're talking, and I ended up asking him, "Hey, did you get the collector's thing?" And he was like, no, I didn't look into that too much. I'm like, are you a moron? Like, seriously, that thing is so badass. That's amazing. And I basically got to him to the point where he ended up actually going and getting it while we were doing our interview live. I just berated him. And there've been several people where I'm like, how did you not get that cover? That cover is so killer. That whole thing is amazing.
Yeah, and I only printed 53 of them. No, I'm sorry, 50 of them. So that's and our end up total of the complete people who were in the book was 61. So there's some people who aren't going to have them. So there's only 50 of them made. That's it. It's really, really cool. And you guys may not notice, but this where is it? Where's the creative cover? I switched out the main picture because it was just the hardcover edition.
The Mittens one.
What's that?
I was wondering if it was the Mittens one.
Yeah, but I really, really love this image. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you guys want to buy one of those on eBay, Chuck is willing. Chuck and Wendy both have one. Maybe you can get one off of them. They can keep one for the family. Maybe you can message my wife.
We're getting ours signed, so when you do buy it, you're gonna pay. we're every time we go to a show, we'll be like, oh, that dude's gonna be there. If they're signing it, I'm gonna get them all signed. Yeah, they're gonna pay.
Chuck, are you selling your Oz comps? I got your PayPal info.
We'll talk, sweetheart. We'll talk.
I don't think many people are going to sell it, to be honest. I think it's going to be hold on. I actually look forward to one of us getting big, and then we're like, oh, look, it's on eBay now. I wonder why that is.
We all know it's not going to be Travis. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Jonathan Hendricks is the next Danny Cates. That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
No, yeah.
He can't be. He doesn't let her.
He doesn't let her.
All right, so let's go over the book. So for those listening at home, I know 6 minutes in, we're actually into the book. Go ahead and open to the first page. We're going to go over the book, and like I said, we're going to be talking about it. So this first page, first cover, this is, say it for me, Chuck.
Etienne Derepentinier.
Yes. He is the one who did this cover. He's fantastic. He is a rare talent, super, super nice guy. Did it for us. Love his work. Really, really proud to have this as the Kickstarter cover. So I dedicated the book. If you guys haven't noticed, I dedicated it to my daughter. My daughter moved out of my house this year. So that's been a really life-changing event. 18, you send her out into COVID, right? So that was a little scary. But it is what it is, and she's out, and I've got we've got another guest. Kat has joined us. Oh, I can't. Oh, there she is. Hey, Kat.
Hey, guys.
So we're just talking about the book. By the way, I should introduce who's here. So we've got Chuck here. We've got Emily here. We've got Steven. We've got Kat. Most of you guys are going to probably hear this on the audio, so you can't see us, but they'll come in and out and talk as necessary or as they want. I don't care. So we give credit to me, we give credit to Heather and Chuck as the main editors, and then we got Kat, Wendy, and Peter as proofers. We gave Jerome stealing extra credits for the logo. I'll have you know, here's the first insider information. Craig helped him tremendously on this logo, so he shouldn't get full credit. I just want to throw that out there.
Craig who?
Craig, we'll get to his story. I can't think of his last name. The guy who told me story.
Chuck called you out.
That one guy, Craig. Come on, Chuck.
No, Craig, stop. What's going on? All right. So the first things first, we got a huge forward by David Pepos. This is a super get for us because for a lot of us indie guys, David is that one step above us, right? He's that one step above us. He's that getting into Aftershock, doing really, really cool things. He had his book, The OZ, which I actually have a copy right here. The OZ.
For the people at home that can't see that, he does have it.
It's there.
Can confirm.
So this is the OZ. It's really, really cool. So when we saw that, we wanted to ask him if he would do a forward. This is the first forward he's ever done. So that was kind of cool. And he worked as an intern at Marvel. And then we have these really cool table of contents. I know Chuck is a huge fan because this was really easy to put together is what I understand from the editing team.
Yeah, I did go over this a couple times. I love the idea of it. Like, as soon as you guys said that was the idea, I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea. Yeah. It was just, there were some things where it's like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to play with it a little bit. But seeing it all done, gorgeous. I love it.
And it's the other big thing that makes it really hard for those who are in here for the insider of how to create comics. It's the letters, the titles of people's stories on the right can't go too far in. It'll be in the fold. So we've had to be really, really careful of lining that up and making sure it was easy enough to read, but small enough that we could push it in if we needed to. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I'm waiting for the proof, really confirming everything is really, really cool. Kat, did you have any problems with this one? Was this a pain in the butt to proof because you had to look up everyone's name on the internet?
I didn't proof the table of contents.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
That's actually me, Pete.
All right.
You're high.
Yeah, I was the one that I went through. Yeah, I went through everything. I went through everybody, and it's wonderful to see my spreadsheet come to life.
I thought it was fun when saw the first like draft of it, and we got to the story that I was involved with, and it said colored by XXXXX.
Yes.
I was like, yes, that's my street name.
Yeah, that's Jerome's placeholder.
But it came out beautiful. That was my wife's idea, actually. She really wanted to do that because one of our things that we're doing is setting up puppy seeds to backwards, which is really cool. So that's this is kind of just fitting that theme, and it came out beautifully in the print.
I'm sorry. I thought you said
design. The design.
I thought he said puppy seeds at first.
That's what I thought he said too.
I was like, please don't.
Yeah.
I've got enough cats. Please don't send me puppies too.
I'll tell you, the opium that you get from puppy seeds is no good. I'm just telling you, that is crap. Send it back.
Don't want it.
All right, so and then I wrote a nice little introduction, and basically what this introduction is about is I realized when I was writing this that some people may be think that we don't care about these characters because we put them in some crazy stuff, aka Chuck. So
I'm a terrible person.
So we really wanted to write, hey, we do care about these characters. We did research them. We did make sure everything's good. And explain that though the characters have a set continuity, what they look like, Cthulhu doesn't, and here's why. So that was kind of fun. So we're on our first story. This is day one of the invasion. We wrote these little prose stories to kind of help fit everything together. It's really fun. What the heck? I don't think I wrote that one. No! I'm sorry. This is a poem. That's a poem. Sorry about that. So that's a poem that Dave did all the poems. Dave Greshel, amazing job. Really, really cool. And it really makes the book have a unique feel. So Emily, we're on your story. You're in my story. We start out with Dorothy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any feedback on this story that we can talk about? What is it about? What do you like about it? What did you not like about it?
I really like how she really does come across as like very young in the story. It's like very open to these creatures, like despite knowing absolutely nothing about them. And it's just my favorite because it shows so much of her personality when interacting with these creatures. Now, you know, she's really nice, but she's also very stubborn. And I don't know. I like her personality a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, when I was writing her, I really wanted Dorothy to view these creatures as people from Oz. Like, what do they like? What are they into? And I really wanted to, show that she would have a natural trust for them because in Oz, everything she talks to doesn't try to kill her. Even the Wicked Witch. It took her a minute to try to kill her, even though she just killed her sister, which is shady. Really, Dorothy's the cause of the problem. Just want to point that out. So that's really cool. I mean, one of the things that for people who are movie buffs and have never actually read the books, the reason why the slippers are silver is because that is what it is in the original book. We could not use anything from the movie. We had to do it from the book. So that was a big edit that we had to do. Does anybody else want to talk about the Dorothy story?
I had fun because we got to meet some new monsters, which was really neat. And I got to the Cthulhu mythos I don't know as much about when compared to Oz, which I think was probably the same for a lot of people. A lot of us grew up on Oz and whatnot. So kind of learning about these creatures and whatnot and sort of seeing how it all started. Because that was the other thing is that I wasn't privy to your story until everything was done and I got to finally edit it with Heather.
Yeah.
And so when we were doing our final run-throughs, I finally got to read it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how it all starts. Like, the terrible things that we did is all because of this. So that was a lot of fun to finally, after a while, see kind of where everything came from and whatnot. And you're right, I really kind of enjoy her. There's almost like an intellectual naivete to her, where she's like, well, you guys aren't going to hurt me because it just never happens like that. And you're like, yeah, logically I can see where you're coming from, but sister, it don't work like that. You're not in Oz anymore.
Well, and that's what I loved about the story, writing it. It was I was actually really down on myself when I saw how creative everybody else got to be, where I was kind of in a box because I needed to set up the rest of the book for everybody else. But I feel that even though I was in that box, I got to use a lot of really cool things, like you said, Chuck. I got to create, I got to bring some of those Cthulhu monsters into the world, into the real world, and have a cool interaction with Dorothy in a way that we've never seen Dorothy. Because we got to see her. I feel I did a really good job of showing her cleverness, even though she was super naive, which is, I think, the really hard part of writing Dorothy as a writer.
Yeah. There was a razor thin line that you had to stay on, and I think actually you handled it really well.
Yeah, and I think I had the opposite kind of, I had sort of the opposite from Chuck in the fact that for so long this was all I saw. Kind of intermediary. Like, I wrote it in script form and watched all of her artwork kind of take shape and all that as it went, and it does such a good job, I think, of just setting the tone for what comes after. And it was like the first time I got kind of one of those first initial proofs to start going through. It was amazing to watch it go from
there. Yeah, thank you. So the next thing, Emily made this pinup. I think it was during a Twitch, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So when we were doing the kind of the Kickstarter itself was going, I fired up. We occasionally would do some things beforehand, but we fired up Twitch a couple times, and she's just drew some Cthulhu Invades Oz artwork. In fact, the pencils that you see on the I think it's the forward that she did as well, kind of for up in there. Those were also done on one of the Twitch streams. They were just kind of quick sketches she was doing to get herself sort of in the mood. So yeah, that's that particular one was just kind of being done there. Normally,
it became a bookmark, which is really cool.
Indeed, yes. Yeah, really cool bookmark.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
It has seen use.
Yeah.
We'll try to get you. Well, hopefully, we'll have extras, and we'll give you some more when we do the signing. So next thing is we have. This is the first little prose piece that I wrote. Prose is not what my strength is, so me and my wife co-wrote all of these. We didn't give ourselves credit per se. I don't think in the credits, but we co-wrote all these, which is really, really cool. Me and my wife got together one day and really kind of explained what was going on and kind of setting the mood for each act. Because I'm a storyteller. One of the things that Chuck and I talk about as friends and as co-creators, we talk about acts and what's in each act. When we talk about stuff at the end, we created these acts and what they are. So we wanted to set that up. And when we set the book up, that was one of my rules and parameters is these are where your characters can take place on what part.
Yeah, that was a big thing at the very beginning, actually, is that it will be in 3 acts, and these are the main ideas. So you're going to have a good idea of where your stories lie.
Yeah. So more Dave poems. And one of the cool things about the poems to mention as well is they are actually written about the characters that are in the story coming up. So you'll read a poem. It could be about the Wicked Witch. The Wicked Witch is the next story. So this one is about the Wheelers. Now, were you guys shocked? Everyone, this is the first. You guys seeing this in color?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was in black and white for so long. Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks so good.
Yeah. We decided to color it last minute. It was one of the last decisions we did in the book. My wife really, really felt that this should become color. We really wanted to add the technicals green. That was the only thing I wanted to do. And then Jerome sent it. And this color is actually a flat color, so it's not like super detailed, but it really pops at the story. And the reason why James doesn't color is he's colorblind. So it's really, really hard for him.
Which is great when someone talks to him and says, "Hey, why do you have a black and white book?" And he's like, "Well, to me, it's color."
Fantastic.
Who did the colors on this one?
So let me read in the credits. I know James. So the colors was Jerome. So Jerome did the colors, and then Jarvi Reno Laro. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, Jari Renardo Leo did the flats, and the flats again are a big part of this, so that's why it's extra mentioned. But yeah, I really like this story. This is a story that was late in the game. Basically, what happened was James had mentioned to me, "Hey, I'd really like to be part of this project. I see that you're doing it," and he had done a cover for me for my other book called Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, and he did it for free. He never charged me anything. So I was like, "Hey, man, if you can come up with a 4-page story, you can put it in." And I think he gave me an 8-page story. But
That's what we do.
it's a beautiful piece. Anybody have anything to say about it?
I loved this one. I didn't know anything about any of the characters, and it didn't matter. I got it as it came out. I felt it was really good storytelling. Really well done. I enjoyed this one.
Agreed.
This was the first negative comment that we had on the Kickstarter as well. It's a little trivia fact. They said you spelled Belinda wrong, and they were correct. We did, and we did fix it. But someone was very concerned. They said Belinda's my favorite character, and it is spelled right. Everything is okay. I'm going to give Kat 100% credit for Belinda spelling right, even though I fixed it before she was involved. She confirmed it. I know Kat was active about
that. There were a few names that I triple checked.
So Frogman, this is a late entry as well.
I love the reason for this entry, by the way. This is the Don Wynn piece, right?
Yep. Yeah, go ahead and tell the story.
So what I love about this is that so what's cool about this story is that, or about the whole thing actually, is that Travis created a group for us to talk and go back and forth, because each of us were like the protectors of our character. So he needed to make sure that there was a community that was built so that someone could go, "Ooh, I want to use this person in my story. Does anyone have them? And do I have permission to use them? And how can I use them, etc." And so, I mean, there was a couple people, and I can mention it later on, where they would come to you and say, "Oh, hey, man, I want to use your character, blah, blah, blah. Is that cool?" And we don't know how, but Don Wynn effectively got added in. We're not even sure how he got added into the group.
Russell apparently added him. We don't know why Russell added him, but Russell added him.
So he added him to the group, and because Don had been a part of his Russell's Cthulhu book, he was like, "Oh, okay, cool. This must just be something different, right?" And he goes in there and he's like, "Guys, I'm not a part of this at all. I don't know what this is." And we were like, "Screw it, stick around. Like, why not?" And a story ended up coming out of it. He was able to find someone to work with, and sure enough, we got this. Again, characters I've never seen before, but fun, so fun.
Yeah, and the other one is Jonathan Crowther, who is on the original invite list, got invited. Yep. Jonathan Hendricks and him were going to co-write. They were going to do a part 1 and part 2. Jonathan, when he wrote the story, Jonathan Crowther said, "I don't know if I have anything to add to that story. He did such a good job." So he bowed out, because Jonathan Crowther has a lot of work. He does a lot of wrestling work. He does a lot of stuff. Bowed out to give Rookie, because when this was made, this took a year to make, Jonathan Hendricks had nothing. He had no scout deal, no anything. There was nothing. So he wanted to give that guy a shot.
Wasn't the next Donny Cates.
He wasn't the next Donny Cates at that point. He had to earn his place to be the next Donny Cates. But yeah, Jonathan Crowther gave him a shot, which was a big deal, because one of the original rules was we wanted the bigger names on the bigger characters, and we'll go through that later. So Jonathan Crosby was a big name for me at the time getting and switching that over. So, did you even read this one, Kat? Because this was added later.
This one is not looking familiar to me.
Yeah, remember I told you there's going to be some surprises for our book.
Just better not be any bad surprises when I get the copy and I look at it.
Just blame the other proofers and editors.
Yeah.
Not me. One wasn't assigned to me. Oh.
That's what I'll do is just anything. It's Heather's fault.
I usually blame. I usually blame Chuck for things.
Correction, and then nothing happened, right?
I mean, I don't think there's any mistakes. My wife was ridiculous on doing this, so I think it's good.
I think much love to the whole editing staff though, because everybody took it, like everyone, Wendy, Katrina, Heather, Peter, like everyone took it really seriously, and I know that all of us did multiple passes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really did care. And so if something is missed, I think I'm just gonna blame it on we were exhausted.
I'm gonna blame it on they changed the rules after we looked at it.
We do that sometimes.
But that wasn't a rule when I looked at it. I don't know.
So this is the 9-panel Danny Morales. This was the last.
Wait, can I interject real quick? He has taken that name so that has gone to his head so badly. He has literally changed his signature because of that Danny 9 Panels moniker that somebody gave him, and I can't even and I don't know how PG this show is or where we're going here, but he basically does a D and a 9 and a P together, and it winds up looking like a member. It looks like a man part, and it's. I mean, I've told him.
Get your book signed by Danny, kids.
It's funny because
don't let your kids get your book signed by Danny now.
It's funny because I was editing a book for David Galliano recently, and he sends me an 8-panel page, and I said, "Oh, what are you, Danny Morales? No, we don't do that crap here. No, you stick to your 6 or 7, dude."
So Danny, so Stephen and I were. I'm going to tell the story of this. Stephen and I were on the phone because I had called him about Voodoo Nation stuff. I was doing a Voodoo Nation thing. And Stephen had told me, be really nice to Danny because he's going through a breakup. He's going through a lot of stuff right now. Later that night, I was doing a live stream trying to sell Cthulhu Invades Oz, and Brian Silverbacks was on, and Danny went on, and I was like, Danny, would you be interested in writing a 1-page thing, kind of to boost his self-esteem, get the guy back in the game, get him focused on creative stuff? And Brian Silverbacks then said, hey, no, I will do that 1 page for him. And Danny swings for the fences. Not a lot of people know this. So he wanted to make the most out of his story and show that he has some writing chops. So he started with an Alan Moore 9 panels because he does not mess around. You want to add to that story, Stephen?
I don't want to add anything to that story.
So it was done, and then Stephen, we didn't want to leave Stephen out because Stephen is a very talented graphic artist himself, and he colored this amazing page that I thought for a real long time was wrong because I didn't realize the bird was actually blue. The owl was blue. I had to look it up several times to confirm.
Oh, and for the Danny thing, I forgot to mention, but that name actually came up via Matt Knowles, who ended up calling him that, and we all jumped on it and loved it. So if any money needs to switch hands, I think a part of it should go to Mr. Knowles. So yeah, just throwing that out there.
What I haven't told you is that I am now representing Danny 9 Panels. I am his exclusive agent, so I get 20% of everything.
Another 10% for Matt. Eventually, Danny won't get anything, man. He gets the name and the little penis logo, and that's about it.
I represent the artists artists. I represent the artists, and I'm suing. My uncle was a lawyer.
But it was a fun little story. It's a fun little one-pager. It's set in Munchkin County, which is really cool. Steven did a great job. I'm super excited because the collective is really good for me as a creator. I'm so excited to sit at the table with their staff and get signings, and other people can work. That's the way it's going to work.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really fun when we got the signing in our store, and we get to sit at the table, but then at the same time we're getting yelled at because there's too many people at the register. And, you know, like, oh, we're the famous ones today. But yeah, it was actually really fun to get the opportunity to work on this because I don't know if anybody else knows this aside from you, Travis, but this was the first thing that I've ever actually done professionally in the comic game. Oh no, Danny Morales is here.
Danny
The
Morales,
DNP.
9 panels.
himself.
I'm famous.
Danny 9 panels is here.
It's
Danny,
time
do
to
you have
start.
anything to say about your page? And by the way, we've gone through full stories, and this one page has done more time.
Well, I mean, so like I was setting up my thing on my phone, so I might have missed like a tiny bit of what you guys said. But did you guys tell like how outraged Brian was about the 9 panels?
No, we weren't going to put Brian Silverback on blast, but you're more than welcome to.
Blast.
No. I'm gonna tell the full story, because
I was nice about it.
Everybody in
I
this
just
Quick
said
book,
no
about it.
comment.
Yes, go ahead.
in this book. So this is absolutely my first published work in a comic book at all. I have a little bit of a journalism background, but like this is first time I've had to do anything like that, any screenplay, anything that with panels. So I asked a good friend of ours at the store, Jonathan Hedrick, what
The next signing page.
if he had one page, you know, what would he do? Like well, you know, what's the average number of panels is I believe what I asked him. And he said, instead of answering my question on the average number of panels, he said, if I just had one page, I'd do 9 panels. So I took that as like gospel, you know?
Way
Like,
too literal.
I was like, absolutely got to do 9 panels then. Plus, and I've said this to Brian and to Travis, I was super appreciative of Travis giving me the opportunity. So I didn't want to like phone it in, you know, and make it seem like it was a lazy attempt. And I'm just like, ooh, cool, publish this. So I was really trying, like, you know, and I just like, that was a good 9 panels. I felt like.
Let me tell you how hard Danny tried. He had to write a script. And he was bugged about writing that script for like 4 days. And by the time Travis was like, you need to give me a script or you're not in the book, that's the night he wrote the script.
That's how it works, right? I've learned that's how writing works. But I didn't want
Don't
it
let
to
him.
suck.
Don't let him tell you otherwise. That is 100% how this happens.
It's
But
true.
yeah, and then Travis was, or Brian was not about the 9 panels, but thankfully Brian is a very professional guy, so we were able to get it down to the 6.5 that it is. So I'm
It's
happy.
like 4. It's 4.
It's
And
4?
it's like the one like money shot of the owl sitting on the sign, and then like the 3 little panels underneath.
3 baby panels.
I thought the response to the 9 panels though, like the direct response to it was kind of funny, where he basically was just like, that's too much, and then he just kind of rewrote the story himself.
Yeah.
He took out all the like I don't think he took out all the
I love you
details.
guys, but that's a lot of commentary for page 23. Let's
I know. but before Danny showed up, let me just finish my thought real quick. It was a pleasure to be able to color that page, being the first time I've ever been able to do anything, and I want to thank you, Travis, for giving me that opportunity, and I hope everybody enjoys the work that we did on it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a good little story. I really like it. And then Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon took on the first B story. So this was the B stories. The reason why they're in here is they were a problem solver. When I had everyone write and send in their stuff, they continued to blow up my shit over and over again. So Munchkin City would be blown up, and Emerald City would be blown up. And I was like, I need a solution to do that. So I created these characters. The Bees, me and Michael Watson created these characters, and Michael Watson was a great help for this book. So Matt and Steph was one of the first people I asked because they didn't get asked to be part of the first book of the original group that I asked, because I'm in Florida and I didn't want like 20 people in Florida and then like 2 other people from other places. So they did it. It's a great story. It's the first one that we see in the book, and I think it really hits home. They're the ones who do Munchkin County, which is really cool. They kind of like, what's really cool about it is they give them a name, a Yellow Brick Redemption. That's all them, is adding that extra stuff to it, which is really cool. I think they killed it, the one page. And Steph is known for her one pages, isn't she, Chuck?
Yeah, she is. Absolutely. Yeah. So this was like right down her alley. They did great. Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else on that while we move forward?
Actually, can you scroll up just for a second?
Yeah.
I just want to see something.
Okay.
The comma shouldn't be there.
It's so true. I'm still proofing. Well, you said Munchkin County, and the sign says Munchkin Country, and I'm not sure which is the correct answer. So
it's actually country. That's a really good point. In fact, we actually went and changed it in the this story because it said county, so we changed it with the hair and stuff to make sure it made sense. Good call. Good call. So over here it said country. That's a good thing. We actually added more hair here that you can't tell. We had our letterer add more hair, so it made it be what it needed to be. So if you guys look at your original things you guys sent me, you'll notice that. And we covered the other one.
Notice that now.
I just now noticed that, and I wrote it.
All right, how to be a responsible dog owner in Land of Oz. This is Eric Hawkins and Caleb. Chuck and I had worked with Eric Hawkins over on the Advocator, and we wanted to get him in this, so I got him and Caleb together. Caleb just did vampire unicorns and all sorts of really cool stuff. And it's really the story of Toto sick of Dorothy's shit.
That's a good summary. It really is.
It's a fun little one.
Yeah, it's a really, really good one. Lots of fun. Lots of highly recommended for people to pick up, to check out. It's actually a lot of people's favorite, so I think they like it.
How do you not love that last panel though?
Right.
Like, that's like the best panel probably in the whole book.
I feel like that is the cracker equivalent. It's kind of an aperitif. It basically just kind of like, it's a palate cleanser. There's so much destruction and killing and all this, and then you read this and you're just like, oh, that's kind of cute. Okay, all right, thank you.
Is anybody else taking cracker in a different direction?
There's another way to take it.
I don't know.
And J.M. Hunter, who knew nothing about what we were doing, painted this beautiful picture with Toto. So that worked out really well, and we put those together.
I kind of want that on my wall.
We'll have to talk to him.
That's really cool.
We got another beautiful poem here by Dave for Jack the Pumpkinhead. This is David Bryan and Brian Silverback's second art duties in this book. And Claudia, go ahead.
This is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
that was a good one. And this was one of the first ones that was finished, wasn't it?
Yeah, correct. David and Brian got it done quickly. David's a professional, and he got this done like hella quick. The first one finished was Toto, but this was the second one. And what I love about it is self-admitted. He doesn't know a lot about Cthulhu, but he knows that there's cultists. He knows that they try to recruit people. So he kind of wrote the story about that. And it's really, really cool. We have some really cool ghost stuff and some monsters. The ending is awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know, that ending actually in most time, a lot of you guys won't know this, but when they ask you to do comic book anthologies, 9 times out of 10 they will tell you no splash pages. That is a rule. Do not drop a splash page. And this is the argument for allowing a splash page, because this is one where you see that and you go, no, you needed that. And this is also one of those times where I would want to show clients that's how you do a friggin' splash page. That because a lot of people will use them like, oh, you have to open every comic with a splash page. I'm like, no, you do not. A splash page is dramatic. It's highlighting a special moment. It's giving the artist this chance to just freak the hell out and just do an amazing job that will blow minds. And this hits all of the notes of a good splash page. So, and it is the reason why, when done right, it should be allowed in a anthology. So, good job to both of those guys.
Oh, look, there's a 9-page right here. David did one. On panel. The other thing I want to say,
Travis,
go ahead.
He gave me a behind the scenes today when I had him on the show, David.
Mm-hmm.
And is it true that you told people that when you can do a story, you can do between 1 and 10 pages, and he's the only guy that chose to do 10 pages?
That is also correct. Thank you. Good call. Yeah, he's the only one who decided to do 10 pages. Yep.
Cool.
My behind the scenes on this one was that the Pumpkinhead story was the first one that I saw in the Facebook group that we had going. Where somebody was posting, oh, I got this done. It was really, really cool to watch people. Like, nobody was really trying to just, oh, I'm going to hold this to the last second or anything. Everybody was like showing what they were doing as they were doing, and everybody's egging each other on. It was really cool to watch.
Yeah, one of the cool things as well about it that Brian Silverbacks, he was like, I didn't even want to do this, like, because he's so awesome. He just says what's on his head. He's like, I didn't even want to do this. I was a favor for David, and then he's like, but then I saw the creative appeals and I realized I'm leveling up by being in this book.
He leveled up when I colored that one page.
That's true. That's true.
Travis, I'm gonna pop out of here. I'm gonna watch, keep watching, but I'm gonna pop out. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I will see you soon.
All right, bye, Danny. All right, so the next one we have, this one is Lucas Rare. So this one was a write-in story. So someone pledged to write one of the B stories. So this was written in here. Really, really good little, funny little thing. It's pretty cool. So we loved it.
Nice.
Thank you for your pledge.
All right, the next one. So 101.
1001.
1001, you're right.
So what's great
you just got live proofed, man. You just got live proofed.
Right? When we were doing this book, it was when it got to the end, the whole thing is done and laid out and whatnot, and it was me, Heather. I think it was me and Heather mostly, and Jerome going through it. And basically, Heather and I would go through and edit everything and talk about everything we saw, and it was exhausting for the two of us. Like, it's a lot to go through. Now, go back to that first page for a second. That's important, because there was a point where I was like, we're exhausted. I'm going to put some levity. And I drew a box right around his butt. And I said, that ass, though. And that's all I said. And we just piled on the comments. Everybody had a blast with it. And that was like one of these moments where we all just got to like laugh and be like, oh, that's right. We're making something fun. And so yeah. I love this picture. This is like, you know what? This reminds me what it really needs is he needs like little bathing suit bottoms and Toto to be pulling those off of him, because that's what it looks
like. like the old sunscreen.
We have an image of that if you'd like to see it.
I'm down. I'm so down.
I'll post it in the group. I have that image. That image exists, believe it or not.
I love that. Yeah, no. But yeah, that was beautiful. And this story is a nice one too. I like this one.
Well, and this was a big get. I remember me and Chuck talking. Richard Rivera is a big get. Stabity Bunny at the time was the hottest selling scout book. And asking him to be part of this was intimidating to me. And he was just like, dude, I would love that. And then the way he works is he doesn't write his scripts down. He like kind of feels them. He doesn't really like write a normal script until later. So he kind of just called me and told me the idea, which was crazy. And then, is that good? I was like, I guess. All right. I felt like I was one of those guys, who's a roadie, right? All right. So I want only the red M&Ms. Like, I don't want any other colors.
Well,
and I was like, whatever you want, Richard Rivera. That's fine.
Yeah, right. Well, and that picture of who did the art for this?
Her name is Claire Meath. M-A-T-H.
Probably Meath.
Yeah, meth would be an unfortunate last
I was
name.
saying, if it was meth, she's probably just pronouncing it differently anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard, if it's meth, it probably is hard to say when you have no teeth. But I liked that one because that last image is such a badass lion, just such a badass. So that was really cool. That's the lion we want to see.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And I like that so one of my requests for him, I don't mind him walking up on hind legs, but he needs to have a little bit of, he needed to hunch a little bit in the beginning to show that he used to work on all fours. And they did a really good job of telling that story in 4 pages.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. So Claire, she does the spin-off of Savvy Bunny called Shadow Play. So now we're in Act 2. So this is the call to war. So, with Lion yells out his call, and then this is all the warriors of Oz start taking notice. Because in the beginning, we kind of show animal stories, and they kind of basically the pure of hearts are really what's attacked. But this is when we get a little more serious. Got another poem for day 71. Day 71 is very important because it's the first day for someone named Chuck's part 1 of his story.
I'm so proud of this. This one is this is myself, Kyron Silva on pencils, and then my boy Alan Ellsworth doing colors. And I created a group for the 3 of us to be able to chat back and forth, and we would go back and forth constantly. And Kyron was having so much fun. That dude dropped as many Easter eggs as he possibly could in this. And I will try to show you all of the Easter eggs. And as a matter of fact, as you look at this first panel, to the right-hand side, we see this character, and that is actually his rendition of Harlan Buck, which is a buddy of ours, Scott Weldon, his character. And so I love the idea of them doing that. But this is me kind of taking my stab on a very serious Scarecrow story, and him realizing, if I'm going to be of actual use, I need to leave. So, yeah.
And then, so who does he kill here? These two, this white guy with the ponytail and this black.
So those are our next ones. He ends up killing Denver from Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, and of course Randy's in there too. Randy ends up running off. So yeah, we had some fun with those things. This is where some of the brilliance comes out, because we did this, and then Alan said, "Hey, why don't we do a playoff of the movie, because we're not actually allowed to do things like the ruby slippers and stuff. So when they go back to Earth, when he goes to Earth, why don't we do it in black and white?" And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And you can see here, he just did a phenomenal job. I love what he did. And I have to give some props to Travis, because when I originally had this story idea done, I just did the 8 pages and that was that. And he was like, "No, you know what? Because of the way you told this story, let's split this in half. One part towards the beginning and then the other part towards the end." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's how it goes. I love it. Perfect." I didn't know that I was allowed to do that. So I really appreciated you, Travis, being like, no, that's how this works best. And I agreed. So yeah.
I'm allowed 1 or 2 good ideas a book. This was a good one. Danny, maybe not so much, But no, this is one of my favorite stories. And one of the things that Chuck didn't say, Chuck really, we hired some big names in this book, but Chuck was like, I really want to do Scarecrow. I know you're reserving the big names for the big characters and the big ones, but let me tell you my pitch. And he blew it out of the park. And I trust Chuck. And I know he's very talented. So.
Thank you, dude. That means a lot to me. And yeah, and even for myself, I was like, I know that these guys deserve these parts, but I have a really good pitch. And so I gave you the pitch and you're like, oh crap, yeah, that is pretty good.
So on day 77, this is The Watch. David Galliano, Craig Florence, that's his name, and Stoney Williams.
When I read this one, I'm sorry to jump in already, but when I read this one and I was editing this one, I actually messaged David and I gave him probably the best thing I could possibly say, and that was, David, you made me care about characters that I did not know. You made me want to go back and watch those movies and read those books and learn about those characters, because they are characters that if someone just mentioned the names and told me a little bit about them, I'd be like, lame, no. And he made them interesting and cool. So good for you, Dave. Seriously.
Yeah, David. So David had done Savage Bastards, and I had watched it. He's a local guy for me, and he loved to do this. I connected him with Craig. Craig is the guy who helped create the logo with Jerome, so we got the two together. And then Stoney Williams is a very talented writer, and somehow coned his way into doing colors on this book. And I got to tell you guys, Stoney Williams, this is the first time he's ever colored. My wife says I love that it's built in two parts.
Thank you.
And by the way, we know a lot of people are commenting, and we're trying to acknowledge them, but we also, Chuck has an interview at 10 and all sorts of crazy stuff. So we're trying to get as much of this done as possible. But we do love it. Mike says, that's the line you want, but is it the line you deserve? These are great questions. But Stoney, so when he did the colors, he was the first time I had ever looked at something and said, I don't think he's going to be able to stay in the book. And I said that, and I've told Stoney the story. Little did I know that when we were going to be promoting, Stoney is going to be my best friend. Like that dude, I have his back. He's amazing. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't up to par. And luckily, Alan, Chuck's color partner, Jerome, and then someone who colored Savage Bastards all sat down and trained him on getting more of what I was looking for from the colors to make it pop. And I got to tell you, they did it, man. This is a beautiful tell story. And though the colors are not, they aren't the colors that I would normally love, it fits the tone of this story tremendously.
Yeah, it's a little more muted than you would normally jump towards. Yes.
Yeah, if anybody's read my books, broke down all their very bright colors and not very muted. It's just my preference. Not that it's right or wrong, just my preference. But yeah, I think that this is one of the better stories in the book. What do you think, Kat? What's your opinion of The Watch?
I really enjoyed this one. I was semi-familiar with the characters. I read a lot of the Oz stuff when I was young.
Right.
So they weren't, they're not as fresh as, newer stuff I've read, but I enjoyed kind of having that reminder, a little bit of nostalgia there of going back, oh, right, I remember this guy, and seeing what other people, are doing, with these guys.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's it. Anything anybody else want to add before we move on? TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really quality story. It's I liked a lot of what Dave did with Savage Bastards and the like, and this is really him just kind of letting go. Just getting everything he can out of the story, and it's tremendous.
Well, and we've talked. We have a small group, and Peter and Emily are both there. He's like, I would love to write these characters again. Like he was invested.
Yeah.
Where if I never write Dorothy again, I'll be okay.
You say.
So this was another big get from us. Jamie, though she may not be known to everyone in the indie circuit, she is a talent, and she's a one-woman show who kills it every time. So I asked her. She was super excited to work on this. Brought it because she does not color her stuff. Her own book is not colored, but she can color. Damn, can she color?
Yeah, that image there is so striking.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful story. And this is the story for me. This is the one that's in every anthology, right? The one that kind of breaks that wall, right? It breaks the wall into the reader, gets it a little more personal. And I loved it. I loved her take on it. I love the madness that she brought. I mean, she made such a beautiful rendition of Glenda, you know?
Yeah. And I believe actually that coloring is done with markers.
I believe so. I think it's a little bit of markers and a little bit of paint. I think like she splashes the white paint on top.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's beautiful. I mean, I would love to own some of this original art because she does it.
Right.
She doesn't put it on a computer.
Yeah.
I'd love to own it. All right. Our next B story is by Mr. Danny Quick. Danny Quick is a super talented indie creator. I asked him, I really wanted to get another B story in from late in the game. The goal is he was going to be, we were going to keep adding new people to the book. And he just threw himself on the book and killed it. James just joined us in the chat. Wendy's there. Wendy says that Jamie made a beautiful story, and James says hi. This is James did the colors of the Frogman story. Yellow Brick Road. So this one, if you got the PDF, this page, this does not do it justice. And I'm telling you guys this, when you guys get this book and read this story, it is amazing. Chuck, I know Chuck and Kat, I know you guys spent a lot of time on this Yellow Brick Road story. What can you guys tell me about it?
I mean, dude, this was one I really enjoyed this one a lot. Wendy especially did a lot of work on this one. So the thing is that Rob Anderson, who is the writer of this piece, Rob, I don't want to. Suffers is not the appropriate term, but Rob is dyslexic, and Rob and I have worked on probably like 80 to 90% of the works that Rob has put out, and so we have sort of had to create kind of a back and forth as to how to edit him and work on him. And I didn't get at it before Wendy and Katrina jumped on, and I got to give respect to them. Because his dialogue can be difficult to get through because a lot of it is done through voice to text because he does have such a hard time with having to get it all out there and whatnot. But I think between all of them and Martha doing the art and whatnot, I think everybody really made a really cool piece out of this.
Well, one of the cool things about it too is he took it in a very different take. He made it a very, very different story. It has a different feel from everything else. And he created a new character. This warlock character is brand new, which is really, really cool. Mm-hmm. So I have to give him a lot of props for being original and doing some stuff. Mm-hmm. The other thing is this gives an origin to the Yellow Brick Road, which has never been done before, which is really cool. It was always just Red Road led to Winky Country. This one led to the Emerald City. Like, that's just what it meant, and this added a little bit of Breveras to it. And he added a warlock. He wanted to write a warlock instead of a witch. Brian Silverbeck does say hi, everyone. Brian, you said a little sweary word. I didn't post it. We're trying to keep it a little PG. You can. This is Mike Watson. He did the Scarecrow and as one of our crowdfunding things, and I like this little take on him. I like Ninja Scarecrow. I wish he would have had knives. No,
he was.
Should have knives.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
And that face is just creepy. It's like Leatherface, right? On this.
Yeah. He's ready to kick some ass.
Right. And now we are in Act 3, the final act. This is so there's been small skirmishes, but this is the war. So this gets us into the war. Day 135. This is where we get the next Donny Cates, right, Steven?
Damn right.
The Heart of Rust by Jonathan Hickman and Robbie Bragan and Sunil Charles, who, by the way, does colors for lots of Zenoscope stuff, including an Oz one. which I didn't know until after I put everything together. She does an Oz property over at Zenescope. Things I should know when promoting this book. But he tells a really interesting story about Cthulhu. My favorite panel in all of the book is right here. That is just an amazing panel. The Axe in the Air in Cthulhu. Really, really good. I tell Jonathan often that this is the second best thing he did right after Recount. Like, this is his best writing. Any other comments on this?
No, but I agree. That's probably one of the best panels in the book.
Yeah. John was supposed to be here. He must be. He must have had to work late or something. But yeah, it's a great story. Love it. Love where it ends. And what's cool about his story is you don't know all the details. Like he really took that. You were just giving snapshots, so you could tell a lot of things happened to him before this happened.
Yes.
Day 108.
180.
Part 2, Chuck.
Part 2. Ooh, this was really cool. I love. Okay, so that bottom panel there. That's the madness panel. That's where I really got to embrace the madness. And I wrote in my script that this was that fourth wall breaking moment. And if you actually read all of my story, all 8 pages, you'll find it's all done via narrator boxes, because he's basically narrating the story to you, except that one panel where he comes out and he talks to you, because he is batshit crazy at this point. And I had a lot of fun playing with this, because I was playing with the whole idea of kind of dealing with loss. And so I really played off of that, and really kind of, I don't know, I had a lot of fun. You know what? I'm going to let other people talk about it a little bit, though I will tell you guys some Easter eggs in a minute.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of it. And what's really interesting is just getting it to that last page. Those last 2 pages are just epic, right? Like it's wartime, like crazy stuff. And how it ends and what happens to Scarecrow. I mean, you altered the Scarecrow in every aspect, right? Like
it's dark. It's very dark.
Very, very dark. You're the one who made us have that PG-13 rating.
That's what I want. Like that's kind of my mission in life. I want to be the reason why you're warning your kids. Oh yeah, Mr. Charlie worked on this one. Chuck worked on this one. That's an issue. So if we go up one to that, this one, I love this panel, by the way. It's the color, all of it. Holy crap! But if you look at that handsome chef on the right there, that was supposed to be me. And a lot of you might not know, but I used to be a chef. I used to be a cook. Yeah. So this was something really cool that Kyron did in homage to me, and I just thought that was the sweetest thing. So that was amazing. And then if you go down one more, I think it's this top panel on the next page. Yeah. Second panel. If you look at the second panel there, the 2 people on the left, that is Jess Rogie and Eric Cockrell, who are my good friends who I worked with on Essence House. And so at the time, we were all working together, and that was something that he threw in there as love to them. So having them as a piece of this project as well really meant a lot to me too. So he was a total sweetheart, and just threw so much cool little Easter eggs in there. And and this ending is just so messed up. This is me kind of saying, I know I write the dirty comedy book, but I can go dark.
Yeah.
I'm now reconsidering having you as my prison food provider.
I think you should. There'll be more than just a nail file in there. That's for damn sure.
So day 235, we get to this beautiful story by Stephen Estrom and Kate Frizzle. This is a beautiful, beautiful story. For those who love Wizard of Oz, Golden Cap is a huge story. So the history of the Golden Cap is when you wear it, you can control the flying monkeys. and he just gave a really good history, really showed off his knowledge. But this monkey panel, this 2-page spread, is amazing. That gives you nightmares. Those flying monkeys are just epic. Steve really brought it. Steve used to work for Newsarama, did a lot of things. He was one of my first grabs, and I think he really killed it. Anybody have any comments?
Couldn't agree more.
Okay. Emily, just thumbs up?
Just thumbs up. Yeah. Because Steve was one of the first folks kind of in this area that we met that like made comics.
Right.
Years ago, just met him at a con and found out he like lived close by to where we do. So it was really cool seeing his name in there when it kind of came around to it.
Yeah. Day 278. This is the Tyler cover. So Tyler and I have worked on things together. He did a backup story and broke down. And I gotta tell you, man, this, in my opinion, is his best work. He did the Yellow King, which is a huge mythos, Cthulhu mythos thing. Did a huge war scene here, and just a beautiful little story that really comes together. And it's gritty and it's dark. I love that it's like Tyler's style is not very clean. And I think that really fit this war at the Emerald City scene.
Well, and he took two characters, I believe literally without names, two nobodies, and made them matter to us. And that's a good writer there, where you can take two people that don't matter in a book filled with characters that matter and make us go, oh, okay, that's I like what you did there. That's really neat. So yeah.
Yeah, he had the Emerald Guard, which is nothing. Go ahead, Kat.
I think he definitely made them relatable.
Yeah.
We've all been in those kind of scary situations, and what do you do? And so we could relate to where these two military guys were at.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good example too of taking kind of one of those huge characters in the mythos with the King in Yellow. It's just very kind of vaguely described, and the moment you see it on page, you're like, hell yeah, that's the King in Yellow.
And he didn't even ask to use the King of Yellow. He didn't ask. He just drew it. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it.
The rebel.
You know the old saying, right? It's better to ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission.
Yeah.
And Michael Watson did, this great little homage piece to Wolverine, which is great with Jack Pumpkinhead. I love that Michael Watson only did the 2B stories, but yet found a way to be on 5 pages of the book. Very impressive. So this is my favorite story. So as we heard earlier, Chuck had a group with his team, and they kind of talked about everything. This was the only team that allowed me in the group. So I get to see this as it was work. Brian Sylvia is one of my favorite artists in the indie scene.
Yeah.
So when they got Greg Elises, he wanted to do the wizard, but his only request, actually, he was supposed to do the monkey. But then we felt we were worried that people may find that offensive. He wanted to take on the flying monkeys. So I asked him if he wanted to take the Wizard of Oz. And he was like, yeah, but I only write prominent black characters. So do you mind if I make him, black? And I was like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Go ahead. So I made the Wizard of Oz black, which I felt really, really fit the character. At least this version of the Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. This was like my Game of Thrones. I love the monkey with the Gatling gun. Very like the description of that in the script was, I wanted to look like Garrett from Final Fantasy VII. Is it Garrett? Right, Garrett. Barrett. And I think he nailed it. But yeah,
this one was the one where he got in touch with me and he said, "Hey man, I kind of want to use the Scarecrow a little bit. Can we talk?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And so it turned out that he was using the Scarecrow way before I was going to use him. So like his story came way before any of my stuff. So I was like, "Oh yeah, that's not an issue at all. Yeah, that's fine." But we traded scripts back and forth, and so I got to read this as a script, and I was like, "Dude, that's really cool." And then he read mine, and he's like, did you just do what I think you did? And I was like, yeah, I did. He's like, that's nasty. Good for you. So we got to kind of appreciate each other at a script level, which was something neat because I've liked his work for a long time, and I've really kind of looked up to what he does. And so being able to see one of his scripts and see what he did, it was really cool. So yeah, I like this one. I have a special place in my heart for this one because, again, I also got to see this before it was anything else.
And I had one of the other cool things is he was struggling with the ending. He just wanted to make it better. It wasn't that it was bad; he just wanted it better. And I informed him about, the queen who could turn her heads off, take her heads off. And when he found that really made this story all go together to be kind of a Game of Thrones-ish, which really worked. And in fact, he didn't even use the Scarecrow in the story.
Yeah, no, he had planned on it, and it wasn't an issue for me.
Right.
But that worked out.
And it ended up being, because of how dark it was, it ended up being more of an ending story. This was one of the options for the ending of the whole book. So Sam Boother, he won a contest. We ran a little contest over on Comic Anthologies, which is a Facebook group. And Sam Boother joined it. I think that's the name of it, right? Do you guys, anybody know it?
Yeah, Sam. Yeah. Comic Book Anthologies, I believe.
Yeah. It's a great little group, and we ran a contest there for a writer, and we got him. By the way, Ken, did you want to say anything about Greg's story?
No, I'm good. I love Michael's artwork on the bees.
Yeah, Mike Watson did a great job on the little bees.
Every time when I was proofing it and a bee page would pop up, it would just make me smile. I had no idea what the bees were doing because a lot of the pages weren't done at that point.
Right, they weren't
everybody's stories,
and they weren't in order properly, the proper
right.
order.
But I was just like, man, I
saw when we were all together all at once.
Well, and speaking of the bees, actually, I need all of you out there who are listening to do me a favor. There was originally there was a chance that all of those bee stories were going to go together towards the end of the book, and I really liked Travis's idea, and that was, it was easier for you to get the joke if they were all together side by side. But I fought really hard, and I think Heather might have too, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
but I know that we fought very hard to say, no. We believe that people are going to read this all the way through. We believe that people are going to get these, and that by the end of it, they will have paid attention enough to get that joke. So please, if you get the bee joke and you've enjoyed that all the way through and you like them spread out like that, let Travis know, because then that means he'll trust us more next time around.
And then Chuck also gets to go. I'd say Chuck gets to go, no. Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to do as an editor. Yeah. It's why I became an editor.
One of the things, there was a time when I was very active in how this book needs to be put together. But, the last month or so, after the proofs and everything were done, I really let Chuck and Heather do it. When they came to me, I was just like, you guys do it. I trust you guys. There's things I'm gonna, I don't think there's anything that I really fought back on. I just, made sure that it was good and fit. And I made sure, and one of the things that I pride myself on, if I don't just say I want something just because I want it done that way. I have a reason every day.
No, it was a good reason. It made sense, but yeah.
But it's good. I think it works out. It's a lot of fun. So Kurt Belcher did the Charge of the Lollipop Guild, and this is a fun little story. This has flashbacks and all sorts of crazy stuff in it, which is really, really cool. The art is so cartoony. I love it. Really makes you feel the Munchkin vibe. And they even use some of the forest animals, like the Bengal tiger, which is a huge, character in the later books that has a little cameo in here. And there's a lot of that, actually. I have failed to mention that now. If you read this book, a lot of people made little cameos to characters that are in the books that are fan favorites that aren't actually in the book. And I think that's a good testament of our love for it. But this is really cool. I remember in our early chats, everyone else is just trying to wrap their head around putting this book together, and Kurt's asking the most crazy questions. all right, guys, I need to know if the Red Queen takes place after this part or this part, because it's very important for my book. Is using Mayor of the Munchkin City. He would go these very obscure characters where people had to look him up to see if they're fit, because Kirk took this seriously. Like, remember, he was the first one to send us a map. Hey, you guys need to know where these things are happening.
That's a creator after my own heart.
He was,
right? He's your dude.
Yeah, he was beautiful. He took this very, very seriously, and that's why in the next volume of this, me and Chuck are spearheading it, because he took it so seriously. He took it to heart. TikTok, another a pinup by Michael Watson. Day 438. This is the Wicked Witch. Now, this one was very interesting because I was really scared that we were going to get sued, because if you don't know, the green of the Wicked Witch is a movie thing. Not in the books at all. In fact, she's not really well described in the book, so that makes it really tough as well. And she's not very important either. Like, the real story is going to see the wizard. Like, the Wicked Witch is just like a side. In the movie, it feels important. But Russell Maltese, known for his women characters, came to me and said, I want Glenda. Can I have Glenda? And I said, no, Jamie has Glenda. Oh, okay. Can I have Dorothy? No, I'm writing Dorothy. All right. Can I have the Wicked Witch? Yeah, sure. He's like, are you shitting me? Nobody has the Wicked Witch? I was like, no. And he's acclaimed. Literally wrote me a script in 2 hours. Sent it to me. And I read it, and I was like, all right, that's our ending. That's awesome. Let's do this.
This does not even start to surprise me.
So he wrote the ending. So this was an early script that I got, that I knew the ending of the book, and I felt the ending really fit with the book. Gave it a really good, powerful ending. Russell did a great job. Nick killed it with the art.
Yeah, Nick has this cartoonish weirdness that he really leans into, and he just did a bang-up job on that.
Yeah, I loved it. It's my favorite, and this is the end of the book. The end. We gave the Oz to the Wicked Witch. So Act 4, the epilogue. So we had a couple of stories that came over at the end. So here's an interesting number: 605. 605 is the number of backers we have on the Kickstarter. That's why day 605 is. So that's how many days it took to take over Oz.
Woohoo!
Joe Rodriguez, when I was writing this book, I realized I really wanted a story for Cthulhu, because Cthulhu is just as important as all the other ones. So James says Wicked Witch is a huge character. I've not read this far yet. Looks good. Mike, you got to get on it, Mike. Come on.
What you doing? Slacking off.
Joel. So Joel, this is a stretch for Joel, self-appointed, that he doesn't do comedy very well, which is really weird, because I find Dust County Chronicle really funny. Like, I always feel it's meant to be funny, but he does not consider himself a comedy writer. So he wrote this, and I thought it was hilarious. I thought it made a good epilogue to it. And one of the things I did want to do in the epilogue was tease, if this did well, the next volume. So at the end of this, we tease the next thing. But before we talk about that, does anybody else want to say anything before we talk about the next volume?
No, I liked it. I think he did hit the comedy aspect of it very well, and I think it was very interesting. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen, you haven't talked in a while.
Thumbs up. Good stuff. The last few stories, like, I've just been just staring at the art, because the art is just so incredible on those last few that kind of got lost in it. Sorry.
Yeah, it actually is kind of funny, right? As you progress, though Cthulhu gets crazier, also the detail and the craziness of the panels are bigger too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you go back to your story, right? You have 3 characters. The frog character before it has 3 characters. And then we're getting wars, right? So we get tons of characters. And then we got monsters coming out of everywhere. So it's really cool.
Monsters out the wazoo.
So one of the things I wanted to do was, if this did well, because Chuck and I, we knew this was going to be gangbuster. We knew it was going to be a big thing. So we planned ahead and we put the seeds in for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. So that is our next book. We have already started preparing it. We're putting teams together. We're doing a lot of stuff. Stephen, if you'd like to come and provide some colors, we can make that happen.
I'm game.
Well, and it was funny because when it did start to get out, even in the production group, everyone was so excited. Like they were just, oh yeah, I want this guy. I want this character. It's like, dude, we're not even done this book yet. We're in the middle of a Kickstarter. Like,
right?
No one is really thinking about that except we gave you a title. Like, chill your pants. Let's worry about this first. So that was pretty hilarious. But yeah, and I wonder if that didn't help spur people on, because I have to say, the whole team, so many people came out to push this. I was worried that this was going to be a Travis show where Travis kind of had to push it the most. And as a good buddy of Travis's, I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do that too. But I was literally running 2 other campaigns at the same time that this was running. So I was like, I can talk about it while I'm on shows, but having to step away and do shows just for this, that's going to be tough. So it was so good that so many people came out and really pushed the crap out of it. The fans got behind it and pushed it. I mean, it really was this event, and people really just made it something big. That 605 number is huge for so many reasons. And I love that we also immortalized that. So good job to everybody. Seriously.
Yeah. I think I came out of my podcast hiatus and actually did one with Travis one night.
I believe you did. That's right, hon. Yeah.
You absolutely did. Everyone here did. Stephen was on one. Emily was on a bunch. Chuck was on a bunch. Yeah.
You even got my Wendy to come out and do and come out of her shell, and she does almost no shows.
Well, I really feel like most, at least one person on everybody's team, with very few exceptions, came out. Even people like Kurt, who doesn't normally do these things, came out on the last night and hung out with us.
Yeah.
So it was really good. But yeah, Wonderland's our next project. We are already starting to pick teams. We're doing that. And it's going to be awesome. We're really excited about it. We're really kicking butt on it and doing some amazing things.
Yes. Come and bring me your commas.
So this is our last takeover. So I gave this to my wife. So the joke. This is the joke part. We wrote it. I was originally going to write it myself, and then I was like, Heather had done so much work. I was like, why don't you write it, Heather? I'd love for you to do it. I was going to write it myself, kind of, because I started the book. I was kind of going to end the book. That was kind of my thing. But my wife is a better ending than I am. No, my wife is super talented. I love my wife and the creative aspect she brings. For those who read my
book, turn the camera around, we'll see the gun pointed at his head.
Yeah,
right.
No, she is not here. She's putting our kids to bed, probably going. I said I'd take this and take an hour, so she's probably like, "How's that hour going?" But no, Heather is very, very talented. She's actually submitting to a whole bunch of stuff right now to do some writing for next year. So hopefully you'll see her name out there. But broke down too. Some of these my dad died in the middle of it, and it was tragic. And I needed the book to come out because I needed some closure. I needed the book to be finished, but I wasn't in the headspace to finish it. Like the book was written, but writing the book is only half the battle, as Kat and Chuck being editors and proofers. Yeah. Just because I have all the art, once you see it sometimes with bubbles, it's a completely different animal, and it may not feel right. So though the script looked great, the art rate on that script in bubbles, it doesn't feel right. You've got to make it feel right, and sometimes that takes a few revisions. Normally more than they're paid for, is what I hear from Chuck and Kat. But
I may have had a client a couple of weeks ago who asked me, how many times will you revise stuff for the price you set? And I said anything more than 2, and we're talking Lego bonuses.
Yeah, right.
Like Lego sets? I mean, because they're expensive. So
yeah, that's exactly it too. And I've got my wish list, so be prepared.
Oh, this is a big one. I demand the Friends Cafe. Okay, I'm just telling you.
I got it for Christmas from one of my kids.
Nah,
Well,
you
you
need
need
Cinderella's castle.
Yeah, they're bringing back the medieval castle stuff. Just saying.
One of the cool things that we did on this too for the last B story is we added Wicked Witch Takeover Day 15. I thought that was really fun. Like it's now After Death. It's now WWT is the
Right.
it was Cthulhu Invades was the CI, and now it's so that was really fun. But no, my wife wrote it. Go back to the Broke Down story. She made that joke. She made that book funny. And even Chuck, well, I'll throw Wendy under the bus. Wendy read Broke Down 2, and she's just like, this doesn't have the same gusto that Travis has. Like, I liked it, but I don't love it, and I loved 1. Then I won her back in 3, so I got to just close her in 4. But it was because of that, because of those things. But my wife saved that book. The funniest joke in that book that everyone gives me credit for is my wife's writing. It's not mine at all. But that's a good partnership, right? That's the way it's supposed to work.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Afterwards, we got Mark Ellis. Mark Ellis does a whole bunch of Dungeons and Dragons. Cthulhu role-playing games. Very well known for it, and does a whole bunch of books. He wrote an Afterwards for us, which is really, really cool. And he's from Ireland, which is pretty cool. But I love it. I loved his Afterwards for us. This wonderful picture we talked about earlier. This is the image that we used for the Kratos collection. And then this is a stolen from Russell.
Yep.
That Russell has these wonderful blocks that you can sign. So we created that. And our goal is to see if you can get the first full signature.
When I first saw those pages, I didn't understand them. And now that makes such perfect sense.
Yeah, this is so someone can sign the book. And what I hear is Emily will draw you a Dorothy for the first person who gets all of them signed by everybody. One of them signed.
I'll draw you a Dorothy anyway. I got a lot of time on my hands.
Emily!
You're going to be drawing 605 Dorothys.
Be ready. Sharpen the pencils.
Wendy says, I cannot keep reading Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies. I don't know what that means. She doesn't want to read it?
No, she said, I can't not.
She can't not. As in, she loves it. She needs more.
And then Trish says, actually, she's going to read it, not the pretty pictures. And this is another cool thing that not a lot of people have seen, the Wonderland image. This was bought and paid for by me. Someone donated that to our group, our production group. And I was like, I need to own that. So I messaged the guy and said, can I have it? And it's a beautiful, beautiful ending to our book.
And that's the back cover. If you guys scroll down a bit, yeah.
Well, it'll actually be in the book.
I see.
It will be the back page. Here.
It's the back inside cover.
So.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We left these green for a couple of different reasons. One, so people like Emily can draw cool sketches. And Brian Silverback. And 2, it just works better with the hardcover. But that's it. In the back we have a couple of quotes from some of our interviews.
And I just want to let everybody know I will sign it too, even though I don't have a block.
You do have a block.
Do I have a block? Really?
We have a block for editors. You would be in the editor section.
I didn't know that. I was just going to create my own block on the inside.
You would be in the editor section.
We actually made one for you. It's called Etc.
Etc. Perfect. I'm so excited.
You can sign pinups. I think you're a pinup girl. You're fine.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay.
But thank you guys for hanging out. It's been an hour and 28 minutes doing this wonderful thing. Let's go around the room, do some final goodbyes, and tell people where they can find you if they want to find your beautiful, beautiful work for things that aren't Cthulhu Invades. By the way, for those who watch us live, you will not be able to see this again. If you guys did not back this will not be available to you. I'm going to make it private and only send to the backers. So, Emily, what do you got to say? Emily and Peter.
Can we put people up on screen?
Sure.
I'm
Well, I
excited
just
for
removed
it
it.
to come out. I have friends who are asking, when it's going to come out and stuff. That makes me really excited.
Oh, wait, I can find you online.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You can find me at YouTube and Instagram at Emily Risett, Riesett. Those are my main things.
All right, let's see. Steven.
So you can find me on a couple different places. You can find me through my personal accounts, which, Twitter, Instagram at Steven with a V _Spivak, SPEVAK. Hopefully I'll be doing some more coloring stuff, so hopefully be posting some of that. You can also find me through the wonderful comic book retailer that I work at, The Collective, a comic and game community in Altamont Springs, Florida, at Collective CCG, as in comics, cards, and games. We run a interview show every Tuesday with Danny Morales, Danny 9 Panels. He interviews the lovely people we have from our collective initiative, which is our self-published kind of project that we get people, on the same level as the major publishers. And then we also run some weekly auctions through Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as well. So you can find us on there.
So let's get Chuck out of here because he's got another interview in 10 minutes.
You're correct. What's up, gang? I'm Chuck Pino, Pineau. I'm a writer and editor. You can find me at that name on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find me at Chucky Pin. You can find me on YouTube, Chuck's Raw Reviews, where I talk about some of my favorite indie comics. And I also have a talk show that I do, which I'm doing tonight as well, every Tuesdays on both my YouTube and my Facebook, called Chuck's Shop Talk, where I interview someone and we discuss their processes and everything. So I would love it if you came check out my stuff. You can also find my personal publishing wing, Bonfire Press, on Facebook, facebook.com/Bonfire Press. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of people watching this. Go ahead and jump over to that if you can. That'd be great.
I'll be there in a couple minutes. Much love, guys. Thank you.
Kat.
Oh, me. Okay, well, you can find me bunches of places. My website is catscratchpress.com. You can find me under Facebook under that same, Instagram at Life with Katie, Twitter at Katrina Rotes. And a little tiny bit of an exclusive from me here. You'll be able to find me on Kickstarter coming in March with my next book that I wrote.
Exclusives. If you get back this project, get it. That you know she's there in March. All right.
And in theory, it'll be well edited.
Chuck's a super busy night for stuff, and as always, we'll wait the welcome to the void. Me too. Love you guys. Love all the goodies. Oh, and the book. But yes, thank you so much. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Go find Chuck. He is live. Peace out, guys.
Bye.